Hi, everyone. Welcome to Indie Insights. Today, we're lucky to have Ritchie Sayner, a management retail expert, um, accomplished author. He's written a wonderful book on retail, and he has been doing this his whole career, working with retailers to help them grow their business. He also writes regularly for the National Shoe Retailers Association. So glad to have you today, Ritchie. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Mark. Glad to be here.
So Richie had sent me an email on some ways he was doing analysis for some of his clients and some of the classifications and where there was real opportunity to do business. And I know many of you are going up against double-digit increases from last year, where we were still, still had the winds at our back with demand and inflation and higher prices, and the fact that we're still couple points up against last year means we're still sustaining the increases we got last year from inflation. But it's becoming tougher to find those opportunities. And Richie, excuse me, you don't look like Ricky Ricardo. Richie really came upon you're more handsome, Richie. Really came upon a way for retailers and retail experts to look at the plans and really seize on some opportunities. Whether you're a retail expert or a current management one plan, it's a great way to look at how we use the plans to grow the business. And if you're not a client, that's great too. You can begin to see how looking at data this way can make a difference in your business and get a little taste of what it's like working with a retail expert and what they point out to you to help you grow and build your business. So Richie, welcome again, and let's get to it. You might want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do for your clients, and then we'll get into some plans.
Yeah, I've been a retail consultant for the past 44 years, believe it or not. I started in 1980 after my retail career, where I was a buyer and merchandise manager for a local family-owned group of department stores, only not my family. So that was the end of that. And as many department stores in small town America happened, ours was a victim of the mauling of America back in the late 70s. So I've been helping independent retailers improve their sales margins and turnover through better strategic management of their inventory since 1980.
Great. So let's get to it, because this is really exciting stuff, and glad you're with us to share this.
Great.
So let's get the first class up on the screen, and we can let everybody see what we're talking about.
Yeah, the reason that what I find from using this example, and we've got a great one in front of us that we picked out, is to help stores maximize their upside sales potential. And the second reason is to keep the inventory in balance. So what I have found with all of my clients is that by you keeping the stock in the first of month on the first of month sales or the inventory plan, we have a much better chance of maximizing our sales at full price. So this is an example of a women's denim category, and the denim category you can see on the circle on the lower on the middle of the page here, where it's the difference between what the planned inventory was the first of the month, hopping around a little bit, but of 66,000 at retail. And this particular store came in and opened up the month of September with a stock of 54,943. So that's a difference or inventory deviation of 11,115. So I have found, and I've proven this, I've back tested this, I've proven it, it really works in every vertical. If we take the 11,115, that difference in where the inventory should have been, and divide it by the planned stock to sales ratio or month's supply of goods that a retailer should have on hand, you'll end up with the number 3495, dividing 11,115 by 3.18. So once you get that 34.95, you can see up on the top circle is where the sales missed plan. Our plan was 20,773. Now, if we're to take that 18,867 that they were able to sell and add the difference from what from the difference of the extra inventory that they did not have, we will get a total of 22,362, and that's beating plan by $2,000. And why this is so believable is if you take a look at the current spot. So Nico, if you can circle the current trend in October, this is as of today, it's $22,000. Okay, if you can see that up on top there, Nico, and circle that on the top of the current plan. So the plan, the inventory is still $9,000 below the forecast, and they're still beating the plan, which is, it just tells me that there is so much opportunity here, and the message is to the better chance, the better we can keep the stock on plan the first of the month, the better chance you have of maximizing your sales.
Yeah, so if you go to the top in the main body where it says sales trend, in the green bar highlight, it says 22,151. That's where they're actually trending. They're going to be hard pressed to make it because they really don't have the inventory. So I think one of the things, Richie, that you and I talked about earlier before this broadcast was how important it is to start the month at the inventory plan with fresh inventory.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can shrink that down a little bit, Nico, I mean, just point out the fact that there's only been 1 month in the past year where women's denim has not made last year's number, and it was May, and it was $25. So the category is clearly trending up. We've got to feed this category, okay? We've got to feed
one of the things, I'm sorry, Richie, one of the things I want to make clear is the 11,115 again is a dollar difference between where they started the month and where we wanted to start the month. So they were $11,000 short of inventory, and they're beating the plan even with it. So you could argue that if they were at the plan, they might be at 25. The plan, the annual rate on the plan of the 218,657, plan's not letting the system fall, even though they're not making plan, because the system knows that they could do more business if they just had it. So we're basically propping them up until they catch up with it. If you look over at the bottom right hand where it has efficiency, it's 118, 118%. 118% is they're selling through on-hand existing inventory. So not only could they do more business if they had fresh inventory, there's so much demand here. People are scarfing up even existing underlying inventory with really no markdowns. I mean, the markdowns to date are $13,000, which is, chump change. It's,
what is that, like 8% of their sales or something like that? It's nothing.
It's nothing. So you think about a class, this potentially could be $250,000 or $300,000 class. And so when people talk about things leveling out, things normalizing, you really have to pick your battles, and you really have to be looking at your business in many different businesses like denim, and not just look at the total number, but look at what's happening beneath within each individual classification. It's a wonderful example. They're leaving dollars on the table. Talk about leaving
absolutely
on the bone, right?
Yeah, no, it happens all the time. Nico, if you could go to the our second slide, which will be our last slide, we'll show you another example that's even more dramatic. And this is sweaters, and I don't have a single store that I can think of that did not have a phenomenal sweater month in the month of September. And this store did well. In fact, one of the things they commented on is how well they beat last year by. And I think that's that's true. They beat last year. Every month has been up in sales. and we could have done more. And again, I'll go through the example one more time. The difference between the planned inventory on the 1st of September at 52,000 and the actual inventory of 38,000 is close to 14. It's 13,938. Well, it's a very fast turning category because of the seasonality. That's why the stock to sales ratios are as tight as they are. And we, as tight as our plan is of 1.54, they got a 1.3 month supply. They almost sold everything they had to start the month with. So I'm going to take the 13,938 divided by the planned stock ratio of 1.54, and that's going to give me $9,050. We can see that the sales they reached for the month of September was 29,555. If I add 9,050 to that, I end up with 38,605 against a plan of 34,000.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
Can you go through that again? That is awesome.
I mean, that's amazing. You take the deviation of inventory, the difference between plan and actual, and you divide it by the planned stock ratio, which in this case is 1.54. Add that difference to the sales you had, and that is the potential sales that you would have achieved, and it's provable. And I'll tell you how I can prove it, Mark. If you take a look at where we are today, this very day that we're recording this, our inventory, though, is better. It's at 43,000 against a plan of, let's call it 50, but we're still light. And look where our trend is. Our trend was over last year by I don't know, by it was 32,000 last year. That's what our plan for the month is, for the month. And we are beating that plan already with stocks that are still under inventory.
Yeah, well, you're at a 7.1 actual turn, and the plan is pretty aggressive at 6.5, right? And then again, you look at the efficiency. Last year, they had an efficiency of 66%. This year, they're at 91%. So talk about a trend, talk about traction in a class. We're all over it here.
The other point to make is if you look current month, the store has got the merchandise coming in. There really isn't any open to buy left for the current month. But my comment to this client would be, you've got to make sure that merchandise is on its way to the store yesterday. Okay, because we need this merchandise. We can't wait till the 30th to bring this in. And I would say people, if you're not a client and you're not planning by classification, this is a very compelling reason to break your store down by category. And, we're able to help you, set up a class structure, talk about something like that. Or if there are questions about the math, I'm sure we can get you some answers for how to do that on an individual basis if we need to do that. Happy to do that.
Yeah, that's just amazing. So you take the difference, you take the positive inventory deviation, divide it by the planned stock to sales ratio. Those are the dollars in business that you could have done had you not had that, had you not been missing that inventory.
Additional dollars, you add that to the sales you achieved, and compare that to the plan. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to beat the plan. And it works in every vertical. Outdoor, women's, men's, shoes, kids, home decor, you name it. I suppose the only time that wouldn't be applicable, market, to be honest, to show both sides is if the retailer has got a highly seasonal department and is purposely trying to trend that down. That's fine. So, but
the chances are they wouldn't have a positive inventory deviation. So, the whole idea of deviation is really to help you understand or identify the difference between where you should be and where you are. Now, you have to look at freshness too. On this store, everything's fresh. But if you're carrying underlying inventory, you have to discount that out of the equation as well. So that would be something to consider. But for fast turning stores or stores that are looking for growth in, when you think there isn't any growth, think about what's going on at the class level and look for those kind of places to seize and take advantage of. Richie, thank you. I had never seen that little math exercise before, and it blew me away. I really love it. Thank
Mark,
you so
anytime
much.
I can show you a math exercise you haven't seen, I'm happy to do it. Doesn't happen very often.
Well, I'm glad. You know, it goes to show we were just chatting a little bit before. You know, that Richie was mentioning that you know, he's been doing this for 40 years, and over 40 years, he's still finding new ways to think about and analyze the business, all based on, you know, how do we grow it? How do we maximize our inventory investment? How do we create more cash out of the business we can? So to you, every month is a new opportunity to do that, and that's exciting.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you've stayed fresh with all these years is really a tribute to you. Congratulations on an extremely successful career.
Thank you.
All right, if anybody has any questions, wants us to do an analysis on their classes or anything else, just contact us at Management One, and we'll be glad to work with you in the blog post. There's also email address and to schedule a calendar appointment. Anybody that'd like to get to know Richie, Richie, why don't you share your email address?
Sure. I mean, we could probably put that on the recording, but my email address is Richie, my first name, RITCHIE at arsotb.com. arsotb.com.
Richie at arsotb.com. All right, and if you can't remember that, just get hold of us, and you want to get hold of Richie, we'll make sure we get hold of him. Thanks so much for your time today, Richie. It was great.
You're very welcome.